Hi, I'm Libby, and at my school, we get the opportunity to take a psychology class based on Eric Fromm's teachings. We're reading books like this, Man for Himself, and last week we talked a lot about loving and the differences between having mode and being mode. The having mode is more of kind of just having the person and saying that you're with them and really like you work your way up and like learn a lot about them, and then you kind of plateau off and stop learning about them and just accept that what you know is what you know. Whereas the being mode is that you never really stop learning about them, which is what creates loving, because you understand their daily changes and see where they're coming from and understand their opinions instead of just shooting them down or thinking that they're wrong. Loving, to me at least, is really about being more selfless than selfish. Whereas some people can say, like, you can't go over there without me, you can't do this without me. And a lot of teenage relationships, I think, are based off of that you really don't have trust in them and you want them to be there for you, to bring you stuff, to do stuff for you. While instead, of you kind of going over and really caring for them, even if they're sick, or caring about what their opinion is, even if yours is completely different. And to be able to share different ideas and understand where each person is coming from and why they're saying what they're saying. To love productively, which is something that we've been talking a lot about, is to make an active effort to be with them, and that's more of the being mode. And instead of saying, I have it, that's enough, I already know my sister, I already know my mother, I already know my boyfriend, I already know my husband, something like that is the having mode. To say, I know enough about them and I really don't care to learn anymore, really isn't beneficial to them or yourself. It kind of puts you in this realm of somewhere that you can't get out of, because you can't end up enjoying their differences or even caring about them as much, because for your sister, she can change within a week, 2 weeks, a couple years, and you don't get to know her as much other than that she is your sister. But each individual has different preferences and personalities that change, and I think a lot of people have started to lose the ability to talk daily because of differences and what they're doing. Um, you really need to understand and listen. I think listening in a relationship is just as important as talking and understanding what they're meaning, because to love someone isn't just to love being around them, it's to love them for who they are and what they're trying to be, even if that wouldn't be best for you. It's really about being selfless and caring wholeheartedly about this other person and really wanting to know everything that you can about them and to help them without nothing in return. Of course, with having nothing in return, you still gain something, because you learn a lot about yourself from hearing from others. For instance, if someone's super insecure and they're talking to you about that and you're giving them advice and they're talking back, it really helps you understand that you're able to help these other people. And with that, you can learn a lot more about yourself and how these people are being viewed and talking to you about their problems really shows the differences, that you're not alone. That if you're insecure about something, there's probably like 25 other people in the same area that's just as insecure about the same exact thing. And the biggest part with being like the being of love is that you really need to trust the other person, that you need to trust your mother when she says that she doesn't want you to go out. It's not just to be rude, and instead of just shutting it down and saying, oh, like, oh, I'm going to go out, like that doesn't make any sense to me, it's more to say, I know you're really worried that where I'm going might not be best, but for me, it's the best time to learn the most about myself and have a discussion and talk about why you're doing what you're doing, instead of just shutting your mother down and saying that it's not going to happen. It's the same with teachers, really. Loving can encompass tons of different things than just your significant other. And I think that's what people are starting to lose, the idea that really loving is just to be able to accept the people around you for who they are, and to realize that not every person is the same, and understand where they're coming from instead of judging them. Because once you judge a person, it becomes a superiority complex, that because they do this and you do that, that makes you better, or because you do that and they do this, that makes them better. Whereas no one's really any better than the other person. They just have different ideals and values because of how they've been raised. And I think that this class, especially, the teachings of Fromm himself, have really helped me understand that each person is coming from a different background and trying to grow into the future that other people are trying to grow into as well. One quote from the book that really stuck out to me on loving is that love is not a higher power which descends upon man, nor a duty which is imposed upon him. It is his own power by which he relates himself to the world and makes it truly his. Eric's trying to say that love is really something that you create from yourself and realize and understand from within. And it's not something that just is thrown upon you one day when you're walking down the street. It's not something that you can just pick up or find in another person. You can't just constantly say, I love you, which is really just meaning like, I love that you're being around me and giving me stuff. But really to say, I love you to another person and mean it, and mean that you love everything that they are and what they're doing and not what they're doing for you.